and protests. That's who we really need to go after, because the people at who are actually throwing the Molotov cocktails, they are the foot soldiers. But we need to go after the generals.
Presidential advisor and today's special guest on The Five, Elon Musk, calling out the recent violence against his Tesla properties. Let's bring in PragerU personality Xavier Girousso and the Federalist elections correspondent Brianna Lyman. Great to have both of you on. First, what do you think of Elon saying that you don't target the attackers, Brianna, but you go after the generals in this case?
You go after the generals. I think you also go after the propaganda press here, because the attacks against Tesla are a symptom of a larger problem in America, and that is Americans have become desensitized to political violence, in large part due to the media's coverage of political violence. They called the Black Lives Matter riots fiery but mostly peaceful protests. Now they're calling the acts of vandalism against Tesla a First Amendment protected free speech. So I think there's a way that we have to reshape the conversation around these acts before we can do anything else.
Yeah, I wanted to play some sound, Xavier, about these Tesla protesters and kind of give you an idea of what their mindset is. Watch this.
So the idea is that if you attack the cars, then you're going to attack Musk, because that's most of the source of his wealth and power.
Nobody here condones violence. This is a peaceful movement.
I have to resist with every fiber of my being, not keying a Tesla when I see one.
Got to resist not keying a Tesla. What makes me interested in this thing is they still don't get it. They really think that if you go after Teslas and you key them, and if you burn the dealerships, that you're hurting Elon Musk. I mean, it's unbelievable.
It's really hard to not laugh at these people. You would think that time and time again, after all the violence and chaos that the left has caused, you would think that they would realize that all of this chaos is not making people like their side or respect their side anymore. It's not making them look more credible. It's just making them look unhinged and insane, because that's what a majority of them are. I mean, these are not people with a very sane way of thinking. If you really listen to what they're saying, and then to say, oh, I'm trying so hard not to key a car, that is unhinged behavior and honestly very shameful.
I want to play some sound. This is the far left squad member, Congresswoman Common Sense talked about her, Pramila Jayapal. She said the following here, Brianna.
We really need to help Americans understand what happens when democracies fall, when dictators take over. We've developed a curriculum where we help people understand, how do you go after the pillars of support? How do you shift allies from being sort of passive opponents to being active supporters of taking down a dictatorship?
She's hosting these resistance labs. I mean, Brianna, she literally is trying to train people how to fight a dictatorship that does not exist.
Yeah, this is an example of a foreign national activist who is in the government trying to undermine the United States from within. And she talks about this without a hint of irony. The only dictatorship that we have seen, or signs of it, was the Democrats in the Biden administration. They tried to throw their opponent in jail. They threw his allies like Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon in jail. They tried to kick him off the ballot. They used the censorship industrial complex to silence dissent, and they sicked the FBI on people they disagreed with. And she was silent, because this isn't about so-called dictatorships. It's about finding ways to gin up support with their wild left-wing activists and so-called resist Donald Trump.
And while we're on the subject of wild left-wing activists, Jasmine Crockett was saying that targeting these district judges is targeting the rule of law. She said this, but she forgot one part of her argument. And Darrell Issa reminded her. Watch.
If we continue down this road, then we will not have a rule of law. What it means to have law and order in this country is that you follow the order and you go through the appeals process, even if you dislike what the judge did.
AOC, as we know her, filed articles of impeachment on Justice Thomas and Alito. Ms. Crockett was one of the co-sponsors, along with Mr. Cohen, both members of this committee. It does seem interesting that when the shoe is on the other foot, everyone is self-righteous.
You can't go after the district judges, but I can go after the Supreme Court justices.
I mean, it's always rules for thee and never for me when it comes to these people. The left is just the party of hypocrisy at this point. I will never understand how they don't have any sense of self-awareness.
It's amazing to me, Xavier, when you watch these people, that they think that there's no record of their previous votes, of their previous comments. They just think, oh, that stuff's all got to be gone.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just like they try to say that Trump is a dictator and trying to take all of our rights away when this is the same party that spent so long trying to suppress our freedom of speech.